In a newsroom, the Morgue is the collection of old stories, notes, and ideas. And this October, we're digging up spooky stories from our morgue.
Good time to do it. Today's story is guided not by a Ouija board, but by a marketing email. So the moving company Move Buddha says that Maine is the 8th most haunted state in the country. So our high percentage of cemeteries per capita, dozens of haunted locations, hundreds of sightings of UFOs and ghosts, those all factor into what makes the Pine Tree State feel so haunted.
Those eerie data points are what drove the members of an award-winning web series called Haunt Me to an island off the mid-coast where they had one of their favorite paranormal investigations spurred by a classic ghost story and one of Maine's oldest lighthouses.
It's so Seguin Island is off the coast of Phippsburg, and we'd had viewers reaching out to us to go out there for quite some time because sea legends are always better than anything you could possibly get out there. Like a sailor story, that's some deep lore, that's some deep lies too. So you got to try to figure out where the truth of the nugget of the historical story actually lies. The story of Seguin is that back in the 1800s, again, squiffy on the historical research there when you can't find the actual person, but the story is still good enough on its own, that the story goes that a lighthouse keeper was stationed out there and he wanted to be there with his wife on Seguin Island, which is 2 miles off the coast. Knowing that winter was settling in and that they would be trapped out there until the spring when the bay freezes over, he ordered a piano for his wife, which came with one piece of sheet music. The legend goes that the wife didn't know how to play by ear, so she just played the sheet music over and over and over again until it drove the lighthouse keeper crazy, where he took an axe to the piano, and when the wife protested, he took the axe to her as well. He then realized what he had done and threw himself off the top of the lighthouse, and the mainland didn't know anything had happened until days later when the fuel finally burnt out. So that's the legend that attracted us to that point. The scary story comes from our episode of getting into a boat, heading out to the island for the first time, that we would actually be physically trapped at a haunted location because the boat left and wouldn't be back until 11 a.m. the next morning. And that was our experience setting up an axe murder mystery at Seguin Island.
Well, what did you find when you arrived there?
Katie, who's one of our original members, she had laid out her tarot cards, and one actually physically moved on its own, which in and of itself is just like, you never want to see inanimate objects move on their own. Like, that's scary. But what was also shocking was the card that ended up being pulled was the Lovers. So I think it's such a good example of like pulling into this mythological story that's out there and being like, oh wait, there might be some truth to this.
Yeah, Ashley, another one of the original members, and Katie and I were sitting at the bottom of the lighthouse, at the bottom of the stairs, and we heard a woman's voice audibly. It was not a moan, and I don't think it was a cry, but it was just enough of a her voice for us to all be like, what was that?
And other claims that the island has perfect sea lore is that if you pass too close to Seguin on a foggy night, you can still hear the piano playing, which that little line is quintessential ghost story, and that's what drew me to the island in the first place. So I had audio gear ready to go on, like if there was a single note that played that night. And I didn't capture anything, I don't believe, but like just being there on our own. I was wearing a jacket similar to this, and it was all wrinkly because I'd been crushed in my bag to get over there. And when I had the lightkeeper's assistant cap on, it felt like someone brushed off my shoulder, and on camera you can see one of the wrinkles pop away. And so that was a moment where it just kind of really kind of like launched into the fact that we are 2 miles off coast and there's no one that can come to help us. And I've watched enough slasher movies to know that the phone that they told us about that's connected to a cable to the mainland, that's the first to go.
No good.
So
no, it's no good.
I was like, oh no, we're in it now.
Yeah.
We originally recorded that interview in 2020, which is why everyone was sort of spread out there. And if you like stories like that, you don't want to miss a special on our streaming app. It's called Maine Mystery Files. And Samantha York and I share stories of Bigfoot sightings, alien encounters, and buried treasure from all around the state.
Yeah, a lot of mysteries here. You can find that special and many others plus our 24/7 live streaming radar, our newscasts when they're live or on demand later when you want it. Hours worth of stuff there on the News Center Maine Plus app right now. It is free. You can download that to your television on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.